All right, so we should be live. Let's go ahead and make sure we have everything, and you guys aren't hearing my audio. You are not. All right, awesome. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into CodaKid's How to Make Robux on Roblox Part 2 stream. Now, if you were here for Part 1, we covered developer products, and we also covered very specific ways to get Robux, like actually purchasing Robux, and also promoting things in your game and doing a bunch of different things that may not be related to coding. Now this one, part 2, is going to deal with game passes and how to actually code game passes into your games. So it's nice to see you all in chat. I am Austin, aka Ace. I am part of the CodaKid team, and I develop online courses for kids coding on CodaKid.com. So if you guys are interested in learning about programming, we will have links to that below in the description. Now, it's nice to see you all here. I remember last time I didn't have my chat up a lot, so I'm going to try to have it up so I can answer questions when I see them. But we have Andy and Matthew, Coda, here to help you guys out as well. So if you guys see anything that you have questions about, just go ahead and ask them, and they'll answer your questions as best as they can. Awesome. Yeah, if you guys are not seeing me right now, just go ahead and refresh. So yeah, I think I see a lot of people. Yeah, so Andy may not be interrupting our stream like he did last time. But yeah, it's nice to see you all here. Let's go ahead and get started. So game passes are a little bit different from developer products in that developer products are purchases that you can make again and again. Now, if you guys remember last time here, this is the game I was working on last time. This is the obby that we made, and I'm going to be working off of this to add my game passes in here. Now, in this obby, we added this little button here that is a skip to halfway point button. And since we're in the studio, we can actually try it out. I have my little skip icon that I made with the Robux purchase right here, and I can do a test purchase, and we had this teleport us. Ooh, and actually it looks like I need to make sure I'm published here. Let me publish to Roblox. But this test purchase would actually teleport us over to the halfway point. So let me go ahead and make sure everything is good here. We're just going to restart it here. And we're going to be adding in game passes. That's going to add a trail to our player. And hopefully this works here as well. Let's see. Hopefully. This might be my old code version that didn't have it working. But let's see here. We do have player ID purchase, humanoid root part. Should be good. Hopefully everything's all good. Oh, yes. We had an error last time. As you guys remember, it haunts us again because I didn't save my work and republish since we fixed it. So that is actually an issue on my part. Boom. So very important with programming, make sure we capitalize. We learned that lesson last time. So wherever there is a capitalization that needs to be capitalized, we need to do just that. Now let me make sure. I think this is going to undo the changes. Yes. If you're testing in Roblox and you make a change to your code, you need to make sure to make that change after you have everything up here. So that should be it. Let's go ahead and make sure we publish it this time so we don't actually have bugs in our code from the last time coming in. All right. Let's test that, and boom. We are teleported to the halfway point of the obby. This was the developer product purchase that we made in the last live stream. Now that should be all good to go here, and we are ready to add in our game pass. So this developer product I can purchase again and again. A game pass is different in that it is a one-time purchase on a Roblox game that you will always have access to. So what we're going to be adding in, what I'm going to add into my game, is I'm going to have a trail that you can put on your player. And we're also going to give the player super speed. So I'm going to just be combining two things into one. Whatever you guys want to add to your game pass is going to have to be specific code that you want for your game. I'm going to be showing super speed and a trail, but I'm going to also be showing you guys the code that you can use no matter what Roblox game you're working on to add game passes in. I will specifically tell you where the code comes into play, where you will need to replace it with the code that you want to use. So I'll show you guys the code that's going to be my super speed as well as my trail for my player. So let's go ahead and start on this. We're going to be in Roblox Studio. So if you guys are here working, make sure you are in Roblox Studio. And we want to make sure for our game that we have our game published. So come up here, go to File, Publish to Roblox As, and you want to either make a new published game or just publish it to the other game. If you've already published it, publish it over the same one. So just make sure it is published. because what we're going to do now is we're going to open up Roblox. So if you hit publish to Roblox as, and you publish it here, it's going to publish it and you'll get a link. And if you copy this link, you'll be able to open it up in a new Roblox tab, in a new window. And I actually already have this game opened up right over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring it over to the screen for you guys right here. So this is the Roblox game that I have here. I'm going to be naming it something a little more prettier at the end of the video here. But this is what we worked on for the first Roblox live stream session. Now, in order to add in a game pass, there are two ways you can do it. You can actually go down here to the little drop down, these three dots, and say configure this game, I believe, and that should be able to add a game pass in here, I think. Let's see. No, it's just developer products. So the surefire way to add in a game pass here is going to be back at the game page here, and when it will load up over here. Actually, yes, here we go. That's how you add a game pass. Yes. So in your create tab, if you head over to create, you can see your game here, and in this little drop down, you can hit create game pass. But the way that I like doing it, that is the easiest, is if you're on this direct game page, that link that we got earlier, you can actually just head over to store, and you have an option to add passes and gear for this game. Now this add pass button here is going to be where we add a game pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this add pass button here. It's going to pop up the window for adding a game pass. And all we need to do is we need to add in an image for our pass, give it a name, and give it a description. So I'm going to go ahead and add in an image real quick. I have an image already prepared, my trail image right here. Going to add that in. Now it takes a little bit of time for game passes and images that you upload to Roblox to actually load. So it may look like you don't have an image for a little bit, maybe an hour or two, but that image will eventually load and you will have it. So awesome. So yeah, so we have this. Hopefully you guys are all following along if you want to. This video will be live on our YouTube page at the end of the video. So if you're here watching it live and you get lost following along, just keep watching it and then go to our YouTube page and make sure that you find the video after that. So here I'm going to go ahead and name my pass here Coda Trail. The CodaKid Trail, one might say. Let's see, super speed and awesome trail. Now, what you add to your game for your game pass is pretty important. The way that we price it as well. If you guys want to make Robux on your games, you just can't magically add a game pass and then boom, we'll have Robux. You need to add in something that one, players will want to purchase, and two, you need to make sure you price it correctly. So something like cosmetic, which just means changes the look of your player, is something pretty good to add to games that's not going to give the players a play to win. Now, you could argue that my super speed is going to give them a play to win for my obby, but obbies are kind of just like an individual achievement anyways, and I think super speed in an obby or even flying would just be really fun. So game passes like that, just that increases the fun factor of the game, something that players will want, are things that are more likely to make you Robux. So once you have your game pass and everything made here, we can just hit preview, and it's going to give us a little preview here. This is that image that I was talking about that isn't going to load yet. This will be my image. It's just saying it's got a little hourglass here. It's loading it, so it's good. Now we just need to click verify upload, and that's going to upload our game pass right here. Now we're going to be holding onto this page here. Go ahead and click on the game pass as well right here to load it up. So this is my game pass. We are going to need this because we need this little number here for later. This is our game pass ID. So keep this window loaded up. I'm going to go ahead and move it back and pop it over in my window here. And now what we need to do is we need to go back to our studio because we actually need to make something that is going to be granted from our game pass. Right now, I don't have my trail or anything added in that I'm going to be giving the player with this game pass purchase. So what we need to do is we need to just actually add that in. So let's go ahead, and the first step we want to do, if you guys want to make a trail, trails are pretty awesome. I see them very commonly in Roblox games as purchasable game passes. So they're usually a pretty good option for you. Now, I just wanted to mention really quickly that icon that I used for my Roblox Game Pass, the little trail, let me go ahead and show it for you. There is a little template for this little circle thing for Game Passes that Roblox has. And it's actually at their Game Pass page where they kind of go over in general how to make Game Passes, but they have a little bit of an instructional guide on how to actually take that image and edit it to what you want. It has some specifications for it that you do need to make. And in order to do that, I'll show you guys what it looks like real quick here. this is their little page. They have a little how-to on how to create the icon. I'm not going to go too in depth into that because that's going to require image editing software. And that's just a little more work, and it has to be exactly this file. But their steps are very explicit here, and we'll also be including this in the description below. It might not be there right now, but we'll do it at the end of the stream. So this is going to be the actual icon, just in case you guys were wondering, where the heck did Austin get that icon, and how can I get it myself? That's how it'll be there in the description. I actually edited the image for my little colors that I had. You guys saw the 3 colors. That is actually my own image editing that I did here. It's pretty beautiful. It's going to be kind of what the trail looks like, so that's why I did that. Now, so once we're here in our Roblox studio, we have our Game Pass actually made. We need to actually, we're gonna configure it real quick because we didn't finish configuring it. So let's go to our Coda trail here. I'm gonna come back here. If we go ahead and click this little drop down for our Game Pass in this window, let's click configure. And over here is where we'll set the price. So we'll come back to this because it still has the ID after we do all this. So let's go ahead and bump this item for sale. This makes it officially purchasable on our game page. So if you turn this on for sale, you can adjust the price in Robux that your players can pay to purchase this Game Pass. Now, for me, mine's just going to be a trail and some super speed. So like 10 Robux would be fine, maybe like 20. I'll go 20. I don't expect anyone to purchase it. It's just for educational purposes. But so you want to keep your Game Passes and items that you make purchasable for Robux at a reasonable Robux price. Something too big value of Robux, people really aren't going to purchase. And if you make it too cheap, you know, the people who will purchase it, they'll just purchase it up, and, you know, you're not going to get a lot of sales. You'd have to sell a lot of really cheap items to actually make any Robux off of it. And if you notice, my earnings here for every purchase of this $20 Robux Game Pass is going to be, or 20 Robux, not $20. This 20 Robux Game Pass, I'm only going to make 2 Robux off of it. That's because I am not a Builders Club member. Builders Club members get a bigger cut of the actual profit from a purchase. I believe they get like 70%. I'm only actually getting 10%. Roblox themselves is taking a whole 90% from this. So yeah, so it's going to be a pretty big cut that they're taking from me. So all right, once you have that, go ahead and press save. It's going to save that. We'll be ready. Keep this over here for later. Now we can go back to our actual. Game here. So we have our awesome obby we've been working on. I hope you guys have maybe built yours out since the last time. I kind of just have mine as the default obby with my developer product in it. So inside of here, we've made our game trail. What we want to do, or we've made our Game Pass. What we want to do now is make our trail for Roblox. So the player trail that we're going to grant to them, we need to actually store it somewhere. So once the player purchases it, we can load this trail from the storage and put it onto the player that has purchased the Game Pass. So what we need to do to actually store it is we need to go over here to server or replicated storage. Right here, replicated storage. And we're going to hit this little plus icon. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys. I'm going to have the little zoom area up here, the magnifier, so you guys can actually see more closely what I'm clicking on. So we're going to click this little plus button right here, and what we're going to add to this is a trail. So let's type in trail just like that, and we want to select this little trail icon right here, and we want to rename it. Now there's 2 ways we can rename it in case you guys forgot. We could just click on the name here, and once it is editable text like this, we can edit the name right here. I'm going to name it Coda Trail. Or you could actually be just clicked on this actual item, the Coda Trail, the trail we have, and come down here to the name section under properties. Now I know my big head is probably going to be like around right here, so that's why I'm going to have this zoom in right here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So you can change this Coda Trail name right here, and that will actually update the name of this. So we can add in our trail here, and once we have it in order to change and make a nice rainbow effect to our trail, what we need to do is we need to make the color for it an actual color sequence. So just a sequence of different colors. Pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and click on the color right here. And in order to make a sequence, you need to click these 3 little dots to the right of that color. And this is going to pull up the little color trail that I have right here. And I can go ahead and change the colors that I want. Now for me, I'm just going to choose a purple, blending into like a red into a blue. Let's get some really cool CodaKid colors in here, you know? So we can go ahead and have the purple. I'm going to extend this purple out by dragging it, dragging a purple value here and bringing it over. And I'm going to add new colors by just clicking on this color here and just changing the colors. Now I'm going to make something just very simple, hopefully pretty quick. You guys can definitely take more time. This is how you'd make a rainbow trail. If you wanted to have a rainbow of colors, you would just need to click on here, boom, add in the next color in the rainbow that you want. You can have a sweet, awesome rainbow trail. So this is already a really cool thing you guys are already learning. Rainbow trails in Roblox are pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and add in, that looks like the CodaKid blue. And once we have this, we can actually grab a color just by clicking right next to this and dragging it over. So I can click on my purple right here and just drag another purple color and just keep on creating my color trail. Now we'll see what this looks like when we actually equip it to the player, and you can always come back and adjust this trail because it's always going to be in our storage, so we can always see it again. Now you will want to have a decent number of these colors, otherwise you're really not going to see much. You're going to just have really quickly the colors, or if it's widespread out, you might only see one color. I noticed if I had a color just taking up like this much, it would pretty much be the whole color you could see from the trail. Now you can adjust things like your trail length and the different ways that it's drawn, and we'll be doing that in just a moment. But I'm just going to quickly finish this up right here. I think I need a blue here or there. Perfect. Okay. Now I could always sit here and adjust this as short as I want. You see they're definitely not equal lengths from each other, but I just want to get something here for you guys. So once we have that, we can see we have this new color sequence here, and it kind of shows the little colors that I've made, a beautiful little CodaKid color sequence right there. Now in here is where we can actually change things like the transparency of our trail. Now transparency is just how see-through the trail is. Now, if you have a transparency of 1, it's invisible, and that would totally defeat the purpose of you actually making a good-looking trail. So try not to set it at 1. I'm going to actually bring it down a little bit to something like 0.2, so it's very, very visible, just slightly see-through. And on here, that's pretty much it. You can change things like face camera, which always makes it a flat trail for anybody that's looking at it. But I kind of like just all the other values. Here you can mess around things with like the lifetime, the length, and all of that. That is how long that trail is. I'm going to keep those as default values though. So there is the trail that we've made and put a color sequence on. So our trail is actually good to go. Now, what we need to do here after we have our trail is we need to add our script that's actually going to check to see if the Game Pass was purchased. Now, we will be adding into our Roblox game here a way to purchase it in-game. But as it is right now, players can actually purchase this Coda trail that we have. I'm going to go to my game really quick, actually. Players can purchase this CodaKid trail that we have over here in the store of our game, or whatever item you have. Mine is the Coda trail. There we go, my beautiful, beautiful item right here, my Game Pass. Players can actually purchase it by clicking on it right here, and they can purchase it. Now, as the creator of the Game Pass, you will automatically have it in your inventory. So it says this item is available in your inventory. You will already have that Game Pass, which is pretty sweet. When you test this, you'll actually want to maybe have a friend join in or somebody who doesn't own the game to kind of make sure that the pop-ups and everything are working correctly. Because if you already own it, the code's going to be like, all right, man, you already got it. We don't even need to have you purchase it. So yeah, it's good to test it with a friend. But yes, we have our trail here to purchase, so we could get away with just doing the purchase code that just checks, okay, do you have it purchased? All right, we're gonna grant it to you. But in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how to add in a GUI button, something that's just on your user's screen all the time that they can use to purchase. And this is something you guys wanna be very careful with. You obviously don't want to make the screen very busy for your Roblox players, but having something like a shop on your screen ready to go could be pretty effective in getting people to know that there are really cool Game Passes or purchases to be had in your game. So let's go ahead and actually keep going right here. We need to add in our Game Pass script, and this is going to be a server script, just a regular script. If you remember the difference between local and server scripts, from last time, a local script is something that is going to be on the client side, which is just the player. So the person that's actually just playing your game here, that's going to be a local script. And we're going to be using one for setting up that button on the player's screen that they can click, because things like mouse clicks need to be done on the client, so on the user's screen. But this is going to be a server script that's going to check all the players in the game and say, all right, did you purchase our Game Pass? Okay, if you did, we're going to give you the code that is going to be inside of our Game Pass. So this is going to go inside of server script service. We're going to add a normal script to it. So I'm going to zoom in right here. We're going to add a normal script. So inside of server script service, go down to where it says script right here. We're going to add that, and I'm going to rename it to Game Pass script. Let's make sure we have that little zoom in on you so you can see. So I'm going to name it Game Pass script right here. And this is just going to be the code that checks, all right, have you purchased it? If so, we're going to give you the code associated with it. We're going to give you that trail. So once you have this script added in and named, you'll see it does open it up over here, and it has the little print right here. Now let me go ahead. I'm going to quickly increase the text size right here, so it'll be a lot easier for you guys to see. Boom, that's a lot easier. Okay, so we have in here print hello world. You can go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to exit off of this little zoom here because we got big text now. Now in here in our Game Pass, we are going to be adding in a few variables. And one of these variables is going to be our Game Pass ID. So we're going to be going back and copying that ID number in just a little bit. Now, again, variables from last time are these objects that we can store values into in our code so that we can use for later. And it just helps us it helps us scripts between scripts. So whenever we need to access a variable from another script, but it also kind of helps keeping things organized. A lot of ways that I like to use variables in Roblox coding is putting really long words and phrases into a variable that I might be typing a lot. So this is going to be what the first couple of these variables are. I'm going to make a variable called Marketplace Service and Players that's going to take the game services for Marketplace and Players and just make it a nice little variable that's going to store that value. So let's go ahead and make this. It's going to be local Marketplace Service. Marketplace Service right there. We're going to set that equal to game:get service. And the service we want from this is just going to be the Marketplace Service. So it's going to be spelt with a capital M, capital S. So Marketplace Service, just like that. And this is just going to take this code here and just condense it down into this little object, this little box that I have right here, this variable Marketplace Service. So whenever I want to say this in my code, I can just call this variable here, and it's going to be like, all right, you need that Marketplace Service from the Roblox services. And this just handles things like purchases, receipts, anything related to the Roblox marketplace. So after this, we need to make one for our players. So local players, and this is going to be, making this players variable is going to let us get every player in our game that joins in. So we're going to say local player is equal to game:get service, parentheses, quotation marks, players with a capital P. Now it is very important you spell this all and capitalize it all correctly. If you do players with a lowercase p, it's not going to be the right service, and Roblox actually yells at you by giving you this little blue line underneath it. And it suggested for me players with a capital P right there, because that is the right one that I need. So be very careful with that, with capitalizing your variables, and especially if you have something in quotation marks, it usually needs to be spelt exactly as seen here, or exactly as it would need to be with players, marketplace service, or anything that is in quotation marks and parentheses. So once we have our players variable and our marketplace service, we need a variable that's going to be the ID of our Game Pass. So let's go ahead and press enter a couple times here, and I'm going to make a local Game Pass ID variable. And we're going to set this equal to that weird string of numbers that was on the end of our Game Pass URL ID. And you might be like, okay, well, what is that? I kind of remember you talking about that, but where is it and where can I get that? This is going to be inside of our actual Game Pass that we made. We made this at the start, and we made the price for the Robux, right? So right here is where we're going to grab this number. Up here in the URL for our web page, I have this 7-digit number right here. What you want to do is you want to actually highlight this and then right-click on it and copy that. So this is going to be our Game Pass ID. You can copy it this way, or you could just be awesome and remember all of it. Mine is 6013290. Not too much to remember, but if you can remember it, you need to make sure it's exact. Again, it needs to be super specific. So if you have that in your mind, you can go ahead and type that in here, or you can just copy and paste it after, copy and then paste it into your page. So now that we have our ID here, we have this confusing string of numbers as just something we can call Game Pass ID. So this variable is now storing this number. So whenever we want to refer to our trail that we made, we can just use this Game Pass ID variable. Awesome, so we have that right here. Good to go. We shouldn't need our Game Pass for much else because we already have this ID number right here. So we shouldn't need it for many other things. Now, after these variables here, we're going to make a function that's going to run anytime a player joins the game. Now, we need to have a function inside of this function that runs whenever a character is added into the game. The reason why we do this, and it might be a little confusing, but the reason why we do this is because when a player joins the game, my player, Ace Coda, which is my Roblox character, I could join the game and I might not have my character loaded in yet. Things like my actual Roblox arms and legs and head, that is what my character is. My player is just my tag, Ace Coda, the player that I am on Roblox, but my actual physical way that the character looks, whatever character is loading into the game, comes in a little bit later when connecting to the server. So that's why we need to have two functions here. This character added function we're going to be making also runs whenever a character respawns in a game. Because if your character dies and your character is then loaded back into the game, it's going to respawn the character, but the player will always be there. So we run this character added function inside of our player added function in order to cover any time that our player has died or joins. So I'll show you guys what I mean here. It's just going to be a couple functions. We're going to start by creating local function on player added. And then in parentheses, we're going to pop in player here. Now this is the player that we're referring to. What player is being added? And we're going to click to the right of this line and press enter, and that's going to give us an end. So this is the start of our function, and this is the end. We can collapse this by hitting this little arrow right here, and that's going to actually collapse the function. So let's click to the right of this end and press enter to go one line below, and we're going to connect this function to the player added event. So this is just going to be players dot player added colon connect, and then in parentheses here, we're going to connect this function to it. So we want this function name, which is just onPlayerAdded. So we're just going to do onPlayerAdded. You can actually select this option that pops up, but if you do, you need to make sure to remove these two parentheses at the end there. We don't want any parentheses inside of these parentheses that we already have here. So we have our first function here that whenever a player joins the game, so whenever me, Ace Coda, joins this game here, this is going to run. Now, I will be in the game, but then my character is going to need some time to load in to physically actually be in the game. So there's a short delay. So we're going to have a function inside of this function. So click to the right of this local function here and press enter twice. Below this onPlayerAdded, we're going to make character added. So when our character is added to the game. So it's going to be local function character added. And then inside of the parentheses here is going to be the character that's added. So just character. And we're going to go to the right of this closed parentheses here and press enter. That's going to give us another end that we can go boom, 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 collapse it. We can collapse everything from this function. So it's kind of cool to see what code is inside of what. And then once we have this end here, we can click to the right of that and press enter to go one line below. And then we're going to connect this, this function that we just made to the character added event in Roblox. And that's just going to be our player.characterAdded. So whenever that player's character is added into the game, this code is going to trigger. So player.characterAdded colon connect, and we're just going to add connect it to this lowercase character added function here. This uppercase one is a very specific event in Roblox, but we're just going to connect the lowercase character added function that we just made. So now we have this function inside of a function, functionception. Inside of here, when our character is added, when things like joining in the game or when our characters respawn, this code is now going to run. Now, so we have all of the kind of layout added in. Now, inside of this function, we need to have code that's going to grant the Game Pass powers that we're going to make. So we want to check to see if the player actually owns the Game Pass before we grant these powers. And that's why we need this marketplace service right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set a Boolean variable. Now this is something kind of new that I don't think we've mentioned in the previous stream. A Boolean variable is something that can only be two different values. These two values are true and false. Now, so we're just going to have this Boolean value whether or not they have a pass. If they've purchased a pass, that Boolean will be true and they have it. If they don't have a pass, that Boolean is going to be false and they're not getting any of the awesome pass powers that we're going to code. So in order to add this in, we're going to go to the right of our character added function right here, the top of that, press enter a couple times and type in local has pass equals false. This is that Boolean variable. We're going to start off assuming that has pass is false. And then we're going to check to see, okay, we're going to see if you purchased this pass or not. If you have, then that has pass is going to be true. So once you have that variable made, let's press enter twice. And then we need to actually, we need to go ahead and see if they have a pass. And this is going to be just a little bit of a function that we're going to call inside of our function. So this is going to be local success message. So these are kind of two variables we're making at the same time. This is going to be, okay, whether or not this is successful, and we're going to send a message as well. So we're going to use this function here, or these variables. We're going to set this equal to a function call. So we're going to use pcall, parentheses, and inside of here, function. And we're going to be putting two more parentheses after this function and then pressing enter to go a line below. And it's going to add a little end in here. And let's see, I think I have one too many parentheses right here. Oh, no, I don't. I'm good. Oh, no, I do. I do. So it should be a parenthesis right here. Now, inside of this parentheses right here, I'm going to type in has pass. We're going to set whether or not their pass is true, whether or not they have a pass, equal to if they own the pass that we made in the marketplace. Now this might seem confusing, but let's go ahead and write it out first, and then we'll take a look at the code line that we wrote. So we're going to say has pass is equal to marketplace service colon user owns game pass async. So this is going to be the function we're going to be calling, and inside of here we're going to type in player dot user ID. And then we want the Game Pass's ID. So we're going to be checking to see if this player here owns our Game Pass. And if you remember, our Game Pass ID is a variable right here. So we can use this in here to see, okay, all right, this player's user ID, we're going to see if they've purchased the exact pass that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and put a comma after this and just write in Game Pass ID, the variable that we made earlier. And let's see here. Oh, I guess I did have an extra parentheses. That was my mistake. So this has pass right here is just saying, okay, we're going to check in the marketplace to see if the user, this player currently, the player.userid, owns this Game Pass. This one right here that we just copied and pasted our data into. Now your number is going to be different from mine. So I forgot to mention this earlier. Don't try typing in my Game Pass ID right here. Otherwise, it's not going to work because that Game Pass isn't actually associated with your game. So you need to make sure you have yours in there. But this is all this is doing. We're just going to say, all right, if they've purchased the Game Pass, is this player, do they have it? The player that we're currently checking, the character that's been added in, do they have that Game Pass that we're looking for? Now we're going to change our variable. Well, this is the actual variable right here, has pass. So if it's true, then what we're going to do is we're going to give them all of the awesome Game Pass powers that we're making. If it's false, then we're just not going to do anything. They're not going to get any powers. Sorry, you don't purchase our stuff for Robux. We're not going to give you any awesome powers. So let's click to the right of this end parentheses right here, this little function that we just called to change our has pass variable. Hit enter twice. And now there's a chance that this call here, this function call, might fail. That's what this success is right here. So this function call might fail to actually check to see if they have the pass, whether or not the character is no longer in the game for some reason, or the Game Pass ID failed as well. And what we need to do is we need to cover our basis for that. We need to have an if statement, a conditional statement that checks to see if it wasn't a success. Then we're just going to have a little message that prints out that's saying it failed. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to write in if not success. So if this is not true, this right here, this variable that we made is not true, then we're going to do something. So we're going to write then. And what will we do if there is not a success? Well, inside of here, we need to give a warning. So we're going to give a warning. All right, man, this didn't work. Come on. We can't give the game pass. It didn't work. So warn right here. And then inside of here, we're going to write error while checking if player has passed. So this is just our own kind of error that we're printing. It's not an error that's already in Roblox. We're kind of creating our own custom error message when we're doing our own success checks. So we're doing some kind of complex things right here. We're being pretty good programmers. So error while checking if player has passed. And then we're going to give the pass that we're checking. So we want to put a colon, space, and then outside of the quotation marks, we're going to actually put the actual message. Now these two periods here is basically a plus sign in a lot of other languages. We're going to be adding this, well, I guess a lot of languages use this, but we're going to be adding whatever we have after this onto the string that we have right here. A string just being a string of characters, a phrase, a word in programming that's in between quotation marks. So inside of our message here, we're going to be adding the message that we have, this message right here. What pass did we fail to actually check for? So we're going to make this message a string variable. And in order to do that, we're going to type in toString. And then inside of the parentheses after toString, we're going to type what we want to be converted to code words, pretty much here. We're going to be to a word that we can actually display. And this is going to just be our message. So we want to make that message a string variable. So now if it fails, it's just going to say error while checking if player has pass. Boom, this pass. This is what the error is. Right there. So that just covers our bases. This is a nice check to have. And then after the warn here, click to the right and press enter. We're going to have a return right here. So this is just a return that's going to skip to the end of the code here. So what we need to do now, after all of this if statement here, we need to click to the right of the end of the if statement and press enter twice. So we're now between the end of the if statement and the end of the function. Now, inside, now what we're actually going to do is we're going to have code that checks to see, all right, if the pass is true, if they did purchase and spend Robux on our amazing game pass, what are they going to get? Well, they're going to get the code that we actually put inside of here. So this is the important part. So if you put if has pass is equal to true, then, and then press enter, and inside of here is where all of the fancy Game Pass code is going to go. Now, this is important. This is where it's actually going to differ for you guys if you want different code functions or different things to be gifted to your players. I'm going to be giving them super speed and a trail. Now, if you want something else, this is where your Game Pass code is going to go. If you don't put any code in here, if somebody purchases your Game Pass, they are going to get ripped off because they're not going to have anything special that you mentioned in your Game Pass that they'd be getting. So it's very important that you have this working and you know that the powers are working before you actually make your game public, before you actually have the potential for people to purchase it. Otherwise, you're going to be ripping them off and they're not going to be happy. So I'm going to put a little comment here by putting 2 dashes and just say Game Pass code goes here. And then I'm going to put my code right below it. But that's just for you guys to know that this is where you will put your own custom code. Yes, this is going to be a decent amount of code that we have for this live session. I'm going to try to get through it as much as possible. But Game Passes are a little bit more intricate. The cool part is that a lot of this is going to be able to be copy and pasted. So inside of here, if the pass is true, what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the character has a humanoid, which is how we're going to change the speed of the player. So let's go ahead and type in a local humanoid is equal to character colon wait for child. And then in parentheses here, we're going to check to see if that character has a humanoid. And if they have a humanoid, what we're going to do is we're going to change the speed of that humanoid. So if humanoid, then humanoid.walk speed is equal to 16 times 5. Now, the more that you multiply this here is the faster that the player is going to go. 16, I believe, is the default walk speed. So I'm doing 5 times that. Now I'm going to change the jump power as well by saying humanoid.jump power is equal to 50 times 3. That's going to be 3 times the jump power. Now you're welcome to adjust this as needed if you're giving them super speed and super jump powers. And let's actually, I believe, this should be testable right here. We don't need to do the trail just yet. I'm going to check it super quick. So we should see, because I have the pass because I'm the owner, I should have super speed and super jump powers. So before, if you guys remember at the beginning when we were checking everything out, we did not have those superpowers or the super jumps. So that is actually from our game pass. So at this point, if you just wanted to give super speed and super power or super jump, you could actually be done with the game pass code here. And if you didn't want to add in any buttons onto your screen, you could totally be done as well. But if you want to have the ability to purchase in the actual game, as well as adding in that the trail that we went through the trouble of adding in, that's the code we're going to be doing now. But if you just wanted something like this to learn how to do game passes, the bare minimum, that's all you need. You're actually done now. But if you guys want to do more and do the trail that we made, that's the code we're going to be adding in right now. So once we have our super speed and super jump, let's click to the right of this end here and press enter. And we're going to be making a trail variable that's going to refer to this Coda trail inside of replicated storage. So this is just going to be a local, oops, let me make sure I'm actually clicked on my code here. Local trail is equal to game : replicated storage. So I'm going to find this right here. Sorry, not colon. It's game dot replicated storage. And then inside of there, I want to actually find my, my Coda trail. So game replicated storage : wait for child. Now the reason why we use this wait for child is just we're going to wait till we have this Coda trail in here. Because if we try to load this really quickly, that Coda trail might not be in the storage yet, especially if servers are lagging. So using this wait for child is pretty helpful to cover lagging games. So in here we want to wait for Coda trail. And then we want to click to the right of that and press enter to go a line below. And what we want to do is we want to make a clone of this trail, which is what we're going to be attaching to our player. So to do that, we're just going to do local player trail is equal to trail : clone. And all this is doing is taking the trail that we just made here, the variable, that is this right here, and we're just making a clone of it and calling that variable player trail. And what we want to do is we want to use this player trail to attach to the character. So you'll see what that looks like when we actually get it all added in here. Player trail dot parent is equal to character : wait for child. So this is one of those instances where we're waiting for a certain object that we need to be in the game. It could already be there. And if it is, the second we call this, it's going to be running the code. So we're going to be waiting for something called humanoid root part, which is what we're actually going to be using to attach some of our trail attachments to. And I'll explain what those attachments are in just a moment. So we're going to be waiting for child humanoid root part. Perfect. And then what we need to do is we're going to be setting attachment 0 and attachment 1 of our player trail. And all this is, it's the top and the bottom of the trail. What are we drawing this really cool rainbow colored trail between? We need to actually set these points that it's going to draw it at. So we're going to go ahead and set player trail dot attachment 0 and set this equal to character dot head dot face front attachment. Now this is just I'll show you exactly where this trail is being attached, but this is just the face, the head, the inside of the head where our face is attached on our Roblox character. So that's the top of our trail. Now the bottom is going to be player trail dot attachment 1, which is the bottom. The bottom attachment is going to be character dot humanoid root part, which is what we were waiting to load right here. And then on here we want the root rig attachment, just like that. And this is going to be the bottom of the trail. So go ahead and make sure you have all of this in here. And then we can actually test it out before we go ahead and add in our purchase button. So over here in the game, we're going to hit play. And this should work since I have the trail. Boom, I got my beautiful rainbow trail right there. And when I jump with it, you can actually see it. Oh, okay, we're dying. But yes, you can see the awesome trail that we're drawing. It's actually now officially attached to the player. So let me go ahead and show you. The reason why we use that character added again is because of this. If you don't, you just did player added in all the code, you wouldn't get your trail when you respawn. But that is a pretty cool looking trail right there. I really like that. So right here is, I'll show you my character. So this is my player, Ace Coda. Actually, this is my actual character phrase, Coda. And in here, I have my humanoid root part. And in here, we have the Coda trail, which is where we put that humanoid, or where we put it in our player. And we have the root rig attachment. But you notice on my trail here, I have some data attached. Let me zoom in because I don't think you guys can see this. I have some data here in my properties for that trail that's currently attached to the player in my game. I have attachment 0 and attachment 1. And you guys can see exactly what these attachments are. It is face front attachment and a root rig attachment. Now, that looks awfully familiar to me. I wonder where that came from. Boom, right here in our code. So that's literally where the code is. If we didn't have these lines, it would put the trail inside of our player, but it wouldn't draw it at all because it doesn't know where the top of the trail is supposed to be and where the bottom's supposed to be. So that is what we have right there. We have an awesome trail and speed effect, and our game pass is already even better right now. We have a pretty cool game pass that adds way more fun to our obby game. And if only my obby was more built out, it would be pretty great. But now this kind of gets rid of the need for our developer product because we can just totally skip to the halfway point. So you kind of want to be careful with that. But yeah, so we have a really awesome trail looking great. And now what I'm going to show you guys is how to actually just make a button that can purchase this trail on the screen. Now, this is going to be very similar to how we did this button right here. That's actually in game. But this is going to be covering making a GUI, a graphical user interface, something that's going to be on the player's screen when they play. So if you guys, again, if you like the trail here and you don't want to put a purchasable button on your screen, you only want people to purchase your game pass on the actual game screen, you're good. You can be done with the video here. You now have your game pass. But I'm showing another part that if players want to add in a little purchase screen or a little shop on their player screen, this is how you would do that. So before we actually make that button, I'm going to add in code into our Game Pass script here that's going to run whenever a purchase of the Game Pass is made in game. Now, so in order to do this, this is going to be under our player added and character added code here. So make sure you're at the very bottom of this code file inside of Game Pass script. And what we're going to do is we're going to press enter twice, and we're going to make a new function called on Game Pass purchase. So this is going to be local function on Game Pass purchase. And this is going to need a few things inside the parentheses here. We're going to need the player. We're going to need the purchased pass ID. And we're also going to need whether or not the purchase was a success. So once you have all that in, press enter. And we're going to get the end here. And I'm going to give myself some room here so you can actually see above the bottom of the edge there. And then go below the end here. So press enter to go one line below. And we're going to connect this on Game Pass purchased to whenever to the event prompt Game Pass purchase finished. Now let's go ahead and look at the code here. It is a little bit long of a line, but this is just an event that's going to run whenever a Game Pass is purchased inside of our game. So we're going to type marketplace service dot prompt Game Pass purchase finished. That long event right there. And we're just going to do connect and connect this to our function we just made here on Game Pass purchase. So on Game Pass purchase, I'm going to get rid of those couple parentheses here. So we now have our function here that's going to run when we purchase the Game Pass in game. Now, the kind of cool part about this is we can copy and paste this the code inside of our has pass here to save ourselves time when coding. We're not going to paste it immediately because we need a couple checks inside of our game right here. So on the Game Pass purchase right here, let's see, I think we do, yeah, we're going to make sure we have that. This is a check. So you can choose to do one or the other here. You actually should have both. But the code I'm going to show you guys is just code that's going to, whether or not this code is in another script for you or in this script, it's going to make sure that your player will be able to have the trail. So right here, we're just going to make a new variable local character. Set this equal to player.character. And in here, we want to see if the player has a character currently. So you know how I said we got to wait for that character to get in there? Instead of doing that double function like we did earlier, we're just going to have a check in here that waits for the player. So we're just going to say while not character. So while the character doesn't exist, we're going to do something. And we're going to wait for a split second is the first thing we're going to do. And then below that, we're going to actually try to set the character equal to player.character. So we do this initial check. Okay, if this character variable here exists, meaning that the player currently has a character loaded in the game, this while loop is not going to be running anymore. It's going to go below it. So that's what this while loop is going to do. While this condition here is true, we're going to keep running the code inside of it again and again and again. So the code inside of here is just going to be like, all right, we're going to wait until we can actually set this character variable. So we're going to type in character is equal to player.character. We're just going to reset that variable. Try to make this character variable valid. As soon as this exists and there is a character, then we're going to be breaking out of this while loop and going below the code here. So go ahead and click below that while loop and press enter twice. And we're going to make a new if statement right here. That's going to be if purchase success. We're going to set this equal to true. So if they do purchase and the purchase pass ID, what they actually purchased, is equal to our Game Pass ID right here. So if they purchase the Game Pass, we're going to Game Pass ID. If they have the right pass we are looking for, then what we want to do is we want to do all of the Game Pass code. Now, this is very important. The reason we use two equal signs here is in code here, in our Lua code, these two equal signs compare two things. So we're checking to see if purchase success is true. We're not setting it equal to true. We're checking to see, all right, is your value currently true? Is this purchase pass ID equal to our Game Pass? That's why we use these two equal signs here. Now, inside of here is going to be the exact same code we have inside of our has pass. So go up to has pass, highlight all of the code inside of it, and I'm going to highlight this comment too. We're going to right click on this and copy, and we're going to come down here inside of this if statement. If the purchase is a success, we're going to right click and paste. And inside of here is where we give them all the powers. You may need to align these up again. You could actually just highlight all of it and backspace or tab it back. But have all of my code in here. Now it's going to run whenever a purchase is made. If a player doesn't already have it and they purchase it through the button we're going to be adding, this code is going to run that purchase for them. So that's going to be it for this Game Pass script. What we need to do now is make our text button on our screen. And then we also need to make a local script for our player. And I'm gonna try to make it. As quick as possible, so we don't take too long. Just because this has already taken a bit long, but that's okay. We're learning a lot of awesome things. So inside of our game here, head back to our main game page, and then over here in our starter GUI is where we want to add in a Screen GUI. And this is just going to be stuff that's going to appear on our player's screen for them. So it should be right here. I'm going to zoom in for y'all. You see here we have the Screen GUI attached to Starter GUI. Let's select that. And on this Screen GUI is where we want to make a text button. And on this, in this little search bar here, we're just going to type in text. And we want a text button, not a text box or a text label button. This is exactly the thing that we have on our little skip to halfway point here. We want this text button because this is clickable and not editable. And if you notice, when we had this added in, we get this little button right up here. So we have our text button here, and I'm going to go ahead and change some of the color values here, just my background color. I'm going to make it as close to that same purple as I can. I know it's not exact. I'm going to make it close to that same purple, and then I'm going to change the text to be the same as well. I think I used this arcade text right here, something very similar. And then you can change the actual text here to what you want to have in here. So you can say purchase Coda trail, or whatever you want to have for your text. Make sure they know this is kind of like a shop. And if I knew how to spell trail, we would have an awesome button right here. So purchase Coda trail. Again, you can change kind of the text scale size of it. I'm going to change the size to something like 17 or something right here. And then I can come up here and change this and move it around. So you can move the placement of your button, of your purchase, wherever you want. go ahead and customize it, make it look probably better than mine. I'm not going to spend too much time customizing it just because there are a lot of different things down here in the properties. I urge you guys to just test them out, kind of see what you can do in the properties to make your button even prettier than mine. And mine's looking okay right now. I like the purple. It's a good purple color. So now we have our text button. This thing is now clickable, and we can add in code that says, okay, whenever this button is clicked, we want you to prompt the purchase of our Game Pass. And this is going to be a local script. If you remember at the beginning of this stream, or video if you're watching it after the stream, beginning of this, I mentioned the local script versus a server script, a regular script. Local script is going to deal with the player's screen and what they can do to interact with it, stuff that the server cannot see. This is going to be something like clicking your mouse or mouse movement in general, stuff that is just hardware that the player's doing, clicking and moving around. And the Screen GUI, that is going to be having to need local scripts to interact with it. So right here is where we're going to have, let's see, we're going to be needing to add in a new local script onto Starter Pack. Now, we have from the first stream, prompt purchase. Now, in order to avoid confusion for people who just want to do game passes, I'm not going to be putting my code into this prompt purchase. Although I totally could. The code I'm showing you guys could totally be put into that same local script if you want to. But I'm just going to go onto the Starter Pack here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see in the top right corner there. I'm going to add a new local script. So I'm going to type in local there. Going to have this new local script. Going to add that in right there. And I'm going to name this local script prompt pass purchase. So you guys know it's the Game Pass purchase script. So prompt pass purchase. Boom, bam, just like that. So we have our local prompt pass purchase and the one from the very first stream, regular prompt purchase. So inside of prompt pass purchase here, it should open up, man, that is a tongue twister, prompt pass purchase. Pretty cool. All right, so we have our prompt pass purchase right here with print hello world inside of it. We're gonna get rid of print hello world, goodbye world. We're gonna get rid of that, and inside of here, we're gonna be making a few variables, I believe. Yes, that is the thing we're gonna do. And these variables are going to be the marketplace service, the players, the actual buy button, as well as the Game Pass ID. Now, marketplace service, players, and Game Pass ID, you all should be familiar with. You could actually come back here to our Game Pass script, head up to the very top, and we can just directly copy and paste this. So if you highlight these three lines, you can copy this, and then come back in here, right click and paste it. And there's three variables done in 5 seconds. We don't need to actually type them out. If we're gonna need to use them again, we get these variables. So again, you can come back to your Game Pass script here that we have in server script service. You can double click it to open it up, highlight these three variables at the very top, right click and copy that code, and come in here and right click and paste it into your prompt pass purchase. This is something that if you want to save time, you can do. You could also totally just type it all out, just like what we did earlier. But to save time, I'm just going to do it that way. It is a nice little programmer hack. Copy and pasting code when you don't need to rewrite it can save you a lot of time as a programmer. So the other variable that we're missing from here, if you guys remember the variables I listed, is we need the actual buy button, the icon that we have on the screen for our player. We're going to make this a variable so we could very easily refer to this text button that we just made. So let's go over here to the right of our local players, press enter to go a line below, and we're going to make a local variable called buy icon, which is just going to be that text button. Buy icon, set this equal to, we're going to set it equal to the player's player GUI. That's where we get this buy icon. So it's going to be on the player, which is what is in this starter GUI right here. This is going to be attached to the player. That's why it's called starter GUI. It's something that every player is going to get when they join the game. So we're going to give it to them. We're going to say, hey, you take the Screen GUI. You're going to need it for this game. You might want to buy something. It's pretty cool. So we're going to give them that Screen GUI. So let's go ahead and find that on our game.players.local player. So as I said, this is the Screen GUI is going to be local, meaning that it's going to be on the player's screen, not on the game, not in the game. It's going to be on the client side on the player's computer. So on their computer screen. So players.localplayer.player GUI. And in here, we need to wait for child. Wait for child. If you remember, that just says, hey, you might not have your Screen GUI just yet if you're lagging, but if you're not lagging, well, then you will already find it. So we need to wait until we get the Screen GUI. And then inside of the Screen GUI, once we have that, we need to find the text button. So .text button. And if you notice, that points directly right here. So inside of our player GUI, we gave them this Screen GUI, and inside of that is our text button. So now that we have our buy icon and our Game Pass and all of our variables, we need to just make a function that is linked to the clicking of this buy icon. So let's click to the right of this Game Pass ID here, press enter twice, and we're going to make a new function. And we're going to call it prompt pass purchase. I just love saying that. Prompt pass purchase is actually really fun to say. So local function prompt pass purchase, we're going to press enter to go line below and get that end. And we're going to click to the right of that end and press enter one more time. And down here is where we're going to link the mouse button click to our buy icon. So we're just going to say buy icon dot mouse button one click. And this is the event that's going to trigger whenever our players are in game and they're like, man, that looks like a sweet purchase button right there. I'm going to left click on that. That's why it's mouse one. Let's go back to that. That's why it's mouse button one click. This is the event that's going to run the code here in the function. Now, in order to actually run that code, we need to connect this function to it. So we're going to type in :connect. And inside of here, we're going to type in prompt pass purchase, which is the name of this function. So it's all connected. It's good to go. Our code will now run. Problem is we don't have any code in here just yet. So let's actually write in this code and we'll be wrapping up this stream here. This is going to be the last bit of code before we are fully done with our all the ways that you guys can add in game passes into your game. Now, obviously, there's infinite amount of game pass ideas and things that you guys can do. I just chose to do a trail and some super speed and super jumps to give you guys a little fun and simple idea of what you can add. And super speed and trails can make most games and game types really fun. So it's just a general thing that you guys can totally add into your games and have a little bit of Robux purchases that if players are interested in, they could totally buy it and you can make some Robux here or there. So win-win, right? So inside of this local function right here, we have local player is equal to players.localPlayer. So we want to find what player we're talking about. Who's the player and what are they doing? What do we need from them? And then we're going to say another hasPass variable, set this equal to false. And actually, I believe this is going to be the same function code from earlier. And it's going to have the same, this is going to be, so we're going to set this equal to false. So what we can actually do is we can grab and copy and paste some code from the Game Pass script. Now I'm going to grab in that success function as well as the if not success that we wrote earlier, because that was a pretty long chunk of code. So I'm going to go back to my Game Pass script that's in server script service or up here in the tabs on the top of your screen. We're going to come down here inside of our character added function. And inside of here, well, I guess you could go, it has to be inside of this character added function. Inside of here, I'm going to highlight this local success message line that we had with all of its code below it. And I'm also going to come down here and highlight if not success then. And then this is going to be the warning. So I'm going to have all that highlighted and then I'm going to right click and copy that. And once that's copied, I'm going to come back here to prompt pass purchase. Right click below my hasPass here. Make sure your cursor is below hasPass. Right click and paste. We don't want you pasting that in any strange areas. And I believe I'm just going to manually backspace these so we can have it all lined up. Perfect. So we have our success right here and the if statement that checks and sends the warning if the success did not happen, if it was indeed a fail. So we have those lines copied in here. Let's click to the right and press enter. Right there to go a couple lines below. Now we're going to have an if statement that checks to see, all right, if they already have the pass, we want to let them know in some way. Now, this is where you would put code if you guys want to put a little pop-up or something that says that they have a pass. I'm just going to add in, for the sake of the length of this video, just a short print line that says that they have a pass. So they're not going to have, if they click the button and they already purchased it, they can't really purchase it again. So inside of this, or below this if not success, we're going to go ahead and type in if hasPass is equal to true. then. And now inside of here is where player has pass, add code that notifies them of that pass. Now inside of here, I'm just going to have a little print line that just says has pass. So it's not going to matter. They already have the pass. They don't need to buy it again. So we're going to type in print has pass. Perfect. Just like that. I'm going to notify in my console here, just for the sake of testing, you guys can see, all right, once we have our pass, we can't buy it again. We'll be able to see it in our little output. All right, so we have our pass right here. Now, if they don't have the pass, if this has pass is false, then we want to prompt the purchase. We want to have code that pulls up our purchase window. So go below this, actually, it needs to be below this print statement. Click to the right of this print statement or whatever code you have to pop up a little window that notifies the players that they indeed do have that little, they've already purchased the pass. Below this print message or your code, we're going to write in an else. Now this is an if-else statement. This is a complex, well actually it's one of the easier programming concepts in my opinion, but it's just basically our if statement has a condition in it that runs its code in the if statement if this condition is true. So if has pass is true, if they have the pass, if they already have it and they try to click on it, we're going to do code in here that just lets them know that they have the pass. What the else does is it pretty much is just like, all right, everything else but this condition. So when this condition isn't met, we're going to run the code inside the else statement, so below the else. So let's go ahead and press enter to go a line below that else, because this is going to be the code if we haven't forked over any money for this Game Pass yet, right? So if we haven't forked over any money, we want to give our players the option to fork over some money. So this is just going to be marketplace service prompt purchase. It's going to be prompt Game Pass purchase. That's going to be the function that we need from our marketplace service. And inside of here, we want to prompt it for the current player that we set here, this local player that's actually clicking on the button, the player that clicks on the button, and we want to prompt them with what Game Pass? Our Game Pass ID. Now, this is important, and I want to make this note at the end here. If you guys have more than one Game Pass, you would need to make another Game Pass ID variable. And then you would have another statement with the next button here. You would link it to the other button. So if you had like buy awesome trail or buy the speed effect, maybe you separate them into two Game Passes. You would have the code and the icon for one clickable to the one Game Pass ID. And you would have a whole different function that would prompt pass purchase for your other Game Pass that you have. So you would need to separate it. This is just code for a single Game Pass here, but you would follow very closely to what we did for the first Game Pass. You would just need to make sure you had different variable names. So changing these up with the different numbers. That's if you guys want to go crazy and add in a few Game Passes to your game, which I'm sure some of you will want to do. So we have our else statement here that's going to prompt the purchase of that Game Pass. Now, I'm going to go ahead and test this to see and we'll see, I already have the Game Pass, so I should just get a little message down here. Let's see if our code is all right. We'll see if it's broken or not. So we're going to run the game here. I have this purchase Coda trail button that I click on, and you see down here in my output, let me go ahead and zoom in so you can see in the top right corner of the screen, we have has pass printing in this little output window. We have has pass right here. Whenever I click on it, the has pass print count is going to go up. So I already own this pass. I can't actually purchase it again. So let's go ahead and exit out of it here. And I'm going to stop this. So this is going to be all the code. Now the question is, how do we actually test to see if someone hasn't purchased it yet? So what we need to do is I'm going to publish this game and we're going to make it public. So I can come in with a different account that doesn't own this game and test it out. So I'm going to publish it to here, and I should actually rename it. I'm going to get around to doing that. So inside of here, I need to find the game that I have and make it public. So in here, here's my game. Now I need to go ahead and configure game, and I need to make it public. So in my configure game here, I'm going to go ahead and make the privacy public so anybody can join the game now. So you can also make it public and open to just friends. If you actually, I believe, go over to the configure place settings. So if you're here in your game, I'm going to edit it super quick. Well, actually, no, I already have that opened up. That's going to open up another version of my game. I misclicked. So we're gonna wait till Roblox is done thinking. But if we're here and we go to configure start place, if you guys just want to test with your friends and you don't want anybody joining your games, you can go ahead and just click, let's see right here, access. So to restrict those who access, you got to disable VIP servers. So unclick VIP servers in the access and then make it to just friends. So if you just want to test it with your friends, you can do that. Now I'm going to keep it to everyone. Yeah, we don't need VIP servers right now. So inside of my game here, I'm going to go ahead and join in. Let's go ahead and copy this right here. I'm going to go ahead and join in with an account that does not own this game. This is the legendary 3D Coda himself. Let's go ahead and click play. And that should connect me to Roblox. I might have to download and get the latest Roblox. And that's fine if it does. If it needs to upgrade Roblox, you can. So it's going to open it up, and I can actually test to see if the Game Pass is being properly prompted, if it can actually be purchased here. So let's go ahead and take a look at it while it's loading up. So we're joining the server. Awesome. It is not Ace Coda. It is indeed 3D Coda. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on Purchase Coda Trail. And in here, we get a little message here. You need 20 more Robux to buy the Coda Trail product. Would you like to buy more Robux? No, sir, I do not. Thank you, Roblox. But we know it's working because that purchase is prompted. Now, the image here, as I said, may take a little bit of time to pop up in your game. And that's okay. It'll just take a little bit of time for the image to properly pop up. But you know it's there if you see it on your actual game page. That's just going to take some time for the images to be approved by Roblox and put on your game. So our prompt is actually working for people who don't own it. So that's great to test that. And I think that's actually going to be it for this video. We've tested everything. Our code is working. We actually have the ability to purchase it. We have the ability to purchase this too in our actual games. You need 10 more Robux. Whoa, I have 0 Robux, literally. I need to start selling in-game products that make me Robux, like the awesome developer products and game passes that CodaKid shows me. Wow. So we have these different products that you guys now know how to put into your games. Now it's just a question of making your games fun to play, or just getting your games out there to your friends and making them, getting them to play it, getting other people to play your game as well. And then once you have these purchasable products in there, people may want to buy them with their Robux, and you can make a Robux here or there. So that is going to be it for this CodaKid stream. I hope you all enjoyed learning about Game Passes. Game Passes was a little bit more advanced than developer products. We covered a couple more concepts, like making it purchasable on the button on the screen, as well as just checking it. So there was a lot more code, but you guys now know how to add in a really awesome game trail, as well as speed up your players' characters. So I really like the way this looks. It's a really nice touch. You can change the colors whenever you want to by just coming into your replicated storage and changing the color sequence on that Coda trail or whatever trail you made. So I think trails are a really cool, awesome item and game object that you can add into your Roblox game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. And if you guys have any questions really quickly, I can try to answer like 1 or 2 at the end. We have already gone over an hour. I know, no errors this time. Yes, no errors this time. But yeah, that was just some capitalization stuff. I've gotten a lot better at capitalizing things since last time. Don't pay attention to the first 30 seconds of this. Where it wasn't capitalized. That was from earlier. That wasn't from this one. That was past Austin. Future Austin, current, present Austin is a lot better at capitalizing. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed learning about Game Passes, and I hope you guys really add these into your games. Just get practice at adding in these things with your code, adding in all the different games you have in Roblox. Just make sure that you're not ripping everybody off. Make sure your code actually works before you make it public, and then test it out and get feedback from people who are playing your game, whether it's friends or just other Roblox players. So yes, it's awesome to see all you guys. Yes, I do know the way of capitalizing. Yes. How do you put trails? We put it in our code for our trails inside of our Game Pass right here. These are the attachments. Well, we added the trail in the beginning of the video, of the stream. This video is going to be available on our CodaKid YouTube page after we're done being live here. So go ahead and check out the beginning of this video if you guys didn't know how to put in the trailer, you missed it. Now, so yeah, if you guys are interested in learning more about how to create awesome Roblox games, CodaKid does have some pretty amazing Roblox game coding tutorials. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the people that developed a lot of the Roblox courses. Okay, it's partially that, but also because the tutorials are really awesome and we learn Lua coding and how to make really great Roblox games. We also have some Minecraft coding, we've got some Unreal Engine coding, Python, JavaScript, you name it, we've got it, or we're going to be adding it. So hopefully you guys, that interests you. We have an awesome Battle Royale course where you can make your own Fortnite-style Roblox game that I personally like, also because I'm the teacher of. But hopefully you guys can check that out. We can do some more live sessions like this. We will be doing a lot more of these type of things in the future. So if you guys have any suggestions, definitely let us know. I just see a suggestion for making pets. That's something I've always been interested in doing and showing our students. So pets might be a really cool one. So thank you guys for all the kind words. Awesome. Thanks, Caleb. Nice to see you, man. HTML, yes, HTML. You're right. HTML, CSS. So it's good to see all of you right here. Awesome. Yeah, so it's great to see you guys. Thanks for coming out. Yes, Cowanate, Toaster, all these awesome people. Thank you. Thank you guys for checking it out. I'm actually going to go ahead and head on out myself. Thanks for checking out the stream and look for the video on YouTube after. And thanks to everybody who's actually watching the video on YouTube. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to our CodaKid channel. As I said, we're going to be doing a lot more of these. So look forward to our announcements in the future. Turn on the notification button so you guys can be notified about these live stream events or any current awesome YouTube videos we're just going to put out there. So I'll see you guys next time in the next CodaKid video.